In this video, I'm going to tell you the only way to accurately measure body fat percentage, whether you do DEXA scan or you do a bod pod or use calipers, but I'm going to give you the only way that actually matters in this video. I'm John from BulldogMindset.com. On this channel, I teach you how to be a man. I teach you how to build financial independence, how to get the physique you want, how to get the girls you want, and how to go from the victim mindset to the bulldog mindset. So if that sounds like something you are all about, click that subscribe button, join us on this journey, and also take the Bulldog quiz here to see what your Bulldog score is. Man, body fat percentage. This is a topic that gets discussed over and over again. So many people on YouTube claim to have 5% body fat, whatever it is. They make these ridiculous claims and they show proof of it. Kino Body, okay, as you guys know him, great guy. Actually, his clothing that he just released, I'm probably gonna go get some of that because it looks really good. But he does claim that his body fat is about 5%, 5 to 6%, and he got a DEXA scan and it proved it. Him making that claim isn't just bullshitting, but it's not actually accurate. And you can look at guys that are on stage as bodybuilders, okay, in competition where they're at 4 to 5%, and you can see that clearly there's a huge difference. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Greg Doucette. Go check out his channel, go subscribe to his channel. I've been watching a lot of content from this guy lately. He's probably my favorite fitness YouTuber right now. He did a video, okay, talking about body fat percentages, and this was the first honest, like, common sense video that made sense. And so I'm gonna borrow a lot of what he said, but I'm gonna add a little bit of my own. He said, and this is what I agree with, okay, he said that the only way to accurately judge a person's body fat is to look at them. Before you guys get all butthurt and upset and angry, hear me out. The reason why I agree with Greg on this is because body fat percentage it doesn't mean anything in itself. What are you after when you're measuring your body fat percentage? Ultimately, you want to know, it's about the physique, it's about the aesthetic, it's about how you look, right? Because if I could just give you a magic pill and now you're at 6% body fat, okay? But you had all 6% here on your stomach or on your sides, would it matter? Like, you would not have achieved the physique that you wanted. So ultimately, when we're looking at body fat percentage, it's giving you just kind of a rule of thumb, just kind of an idea of where you're at and how much you could lose, but it doesn't really fucking matter. What really matters is how you look in the mirror, how you look on stage, how you look when people see you in daily life. That's what really matters. Taking Greg's view of this, it's really just a perceptual scale that counts, and we sort of have to agree on what are certain percentages, right? And again, we can't be 100% accurate with that because of that, right? So you look at the different methodologies like a DEXA scan, and and I've done DEXA scans that have shown me at like 12, 13%, where some scale, I've got a body fat scale that shows me at 10%, and I've gone in, I've fasted, or I've carved up, and just within a week time frame, all of a sudden I'm 4 pounds more muscle mass. Doesn't make sense. It's not realistic. So that skews the percentage quite a bit because it's based on the weight, and you're going to store water at different times, and that water weight is going to be considered to be lean mass, which it's not. That's why DEXA doesn't quite work, even though it seems like it'd be a very accurate measurement, right? Even if you take the caliper. So look at me, all right? Again, what percentage body fat am I right now? All right, like if you guys guess, like, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. But it's going to be all over the range, right? And it depends on the lighting, and it depends on, if I'm flexing and whatnot, and how much you see of me, right? See, if you look at my sides, you can tell that I'm more fat than it first appears, okay? So I would guess, right, by my visual inspection, I would say that I'm at maybe 12% body fat. I don't think that I'm sub 10, all right, at this point, okay? If I lose a little bit here, I'm pretty close. I could be at sub 10, but even though I've got this ab definition, the problem with calipers, like I was saying, is that look at the skin here. See how thin the skin is here, okay? That's just sort of a genetic distribution of my fat, whereas here, if we go to my waist, it's a much thicker. It's still not very thick. It's still, about an inch thick or less, right? It's still not super thick. But if we even just go out a little bit here to the side, okay, you can see that it thins out again here, and it's super thin here, but then look at here, it starts to get thicker and thicker, really thick around the backside, okay? And you know, there's like almost no fat on my chest, right? That's like super thin. And if you look at your biceps, right, that'll be super thin. So when you do the caliper, what are you measuring? What you're doing is you're measuring certain spots to get an average, right? So what they typically do, there's different ways to do this, but with the caliper, for example, you're gonna measure, you know, on the stomach. Now some people measure here, or they don't measure. You should really measure at the fattest spot, okay? To get a good measurement, all right? And then you're going to measure like usually on the tricep here, and again, it can matter where on that, and then on the thigh. So it's going to matter where you're storing your fat and where you measure from time to time. If you do it over time, right, in the same spots, what you're going to get is a differential. And see, that's where using a measurement can make sense, is because you can track the differential over time to see if you're making progress. Like look at my physique, right? Okay, you know, just to be totally bluntly honest with you, right? What would make an improvement in my physique? Okay, what would make the biggest improvement? It'd be maybe losing a little bit of fat here, but it'd be mostly like losing the fat here and on the side. So if I want to actually improve my physique, if I want to improve how I look, okay, then what I would measure is just this, right? And maybe the sides. And I could check week to week, is this going down? All right? If this is going down, I'm improving, all right? If this other part is going down, that's fine. It's not going to make much of a difference, but this is the key thing, right? So that's what you really want to measure. The other thing, all right, that I haven't heard anyone talk about in terms of body fat percentage is surface area to volume ratio. Suppose that you have a sphere, okay? And that sphere has a layer of body fat around it. If it's a small sphere and it has a 1/2 inch of body fat on it, okay, the percentage of body fat to the volume of the sphere, okay, is going to be greater, even though the perception, like if you looked at that sphere and said, is that sphere fat, it would have a 1/2 inch all around. Let's say it's perfectly around. But when you looked at a DEXA scan, for instance, it would show it as a higher percentage of fat. If you inflate that sphere and make it much, much bigger, okay, but you keep that same 1/2 inch of fat, okay, what's going to happen is the volume is going to grow faster than the surface area. So if you spread that fat out around that even with the same thickness level of it, so there's still more fat, okay, you have to have more fat for a higher surface area, okay, but the volume is going to supersede that. It's going to grow faster than the surface area. That's one of the big things that people do not take into consideration. All right, is that if you do a DEXA scan or something like that, or a bod pod, that volume makes a difference. So if you're bigger, if you have more muscle, okay, and this is why you're skinny fat, by the way, if you're skinny fat, okay, is because you might have a small amount of fat, okay, but because you have a small amount of volume, okay, that fat is a bigger percentage of your overall body, which makes it look worse. Whereas if you're bigger, if you had big muscles, okay, the skin, the volume of the skin is, or the surface area of the skin is going to be more, but it's not going to be as much as the volume. And so as an effect, as the percentage of the actual fat that you have, it's going to look better, or you're going to have a lower body fat percentage in general. The reason why I'm telling you this is because even if you could dissect a person, okay, and you could accurately calculate exactly what their body fat percentage is, it's a meaningless number when you compare someone who's, let's say, 100, let's say that they're 140 pounds, okay, versus someone who's 280 pounds. Even though they might have the exact same thickness of skin, so the same look, the same fat level, right? Because it all comes down to thickness of skin, right? That's what makes a visual appearance. Like, this is what I want you to understand. So you take a 140 pound person and a 280 pound person, all right? They have the exact same look, exact same skin thickness, all right? But one guy has a lot more volume, all right? What's gonna happen is that person that's 280 pounds will have a lower body fat percentage as an actual percentage of the total volume of the human being. Anyway, guys, hopefully you found this informative. If you haven't already taken the Bulldog quiz, go take that quiz. All right, guys, that's it. I'll talk to you next time. Take care.